In the old maps of the Western Forest Belt, there was once a village called Aiyegun. It no longer appears on the map, but the elders still speak of it in whispers. They say the village did not vanish once, it vanished twice, and the second time it left something behind, something that still waits. Aiyegun was not an ordinary village, it was prosperous. The soil was dark and generous. The river never dried. The harvests were heavy. Travelers said the village was blessed, but the elders knew better. Nothing is simply blessed. Every blessing has a root, and every root has a story. Long before Aiyegun became prosperous, the land was dry. Children cried from hunger. The river was a thin line of mud. Crops failed year after year. The people went to the forest, not to hunt, not to gather wood, but to seek help. Deep in the forest stood an ancient silk cotton tree, older than memory. Its trunk was wide enough to hide 10 men. Its roots rose like frozen snakes from the earth. The elders said the tree was not just a tree, it was a gate, and gates do not open without cost. 3 men entered the forest that day. Only 2 returned. The one who did not return was never spoken of again. But after that night, the rains came, the river swelled, the soil grew rich, and Aiyegun flourished. No one asked questions because prosperity silences curiosity. Years passed. The village grew wealthy, but there was a rule, a strange rule. Every 7 years, one person must leave the village at midnight and walk into the forest alone. No ceremony, no farewell, no explanation. They simply disappeared. The villagers called it the offering. No one resisted because the memory of hunger was still fresh in their bones, and fear is stronger than doubt. The chosen ones were not selected randomly, they were chosen by signs. A cracked calabash, a shadow that moved wrong, a dream shared by the 3 elders on the same night. When the signs appeared, the elders would nod quietly, and the person would understand. No screaming, no running, just acceptance. For decades, the village remained prosperous until the year the signs chose someone who refused to go. Her name was Aduni. She was not afraid of the forest. She was afraid of silence. When the signs pointed to her, she laughed. I have done nothing, she said. If the land demands payment, let the land come speak to me. The elders warned her. Her mother begged her, but Aduni refused. For years, We have fed something we do not understand, she said. And for what? Crops, rain, wealth. Our words spread like dry season fire. For the first time, doubt entered Aiyegun. That night, Aduni did not go to the forest, and nothing happened. No thunder, no earthquake, no curse. The next morning, the sun rose as usual. People began to whisper. Maybe the offering was a lie. Maybe the forest had no power. Maybe the elders had created the ritual out of fear, and that is when the river began to recede. It started slowly. The river dropped by inches. The soil hardened. Livestock fell ill. Children developed strange fevers that no herb could cure. The elders went back to the silk cotton tree. This time, 5 men entered the forest. Only 2 returned. They came back pale, silent, refusing to speak. 3 nights later, Aduni disappeared. No footprints, no struggle, no sound, just absence. And the next morning, the river returned, stronger than before, but something had changed. The prosperity was heavier, thicker, as if it carried weight. People began to dream of footsteps outside their huts at night, of breathing near their doors, of roots scratching beneath the floor. Then, one morning, the entire eastern side of the village was gone. Gone. Not burned. Not destroyed. Gone. As if the earth had swallowed it whole. Houses, people, everything. The remaining villagers fled. They scattered into nearby towns, and Aiyegun disappeared from maps. That was the first vanishing. 50 years later, a group of surveyors rediscovered the land. They found ruins, fragments of huts, broken clay pots, and in the center of the clearing, the silk cotton tree, still standing, still watching. The government planned to build on the land. It was fertile, too fertile. Workers began clearing the area. On the 7th night, one worker vanished. They blamed wild animals. Then another disappeared. No blood, no tracks, just absence. By the time 5 had gone missing, construction stopped. Only 2 workers remained from the original crew. They resigned. They refused to speak of what they saw. The project was abandoned, and once again, the area emptied. That was the second vanishing. Years later, an old man in a nearby town confessed something before his death. He claimed his grandfather was one of the 2 men who returned from the forest the first time. He said the silk cotton tree was not a spirit, not a demon, not a god. It was a mirror. A living mirror that fed on fear and obedience. The first sacrifice had not awakened a spirit, it had awakened belief, and belief gave it power. Every offering strengthened it. Every silent acceptance deepened its roots. When Adonai refused, she weakened it. When doubt spread, it began to starve. That is why the land withered, not because it demanded sacrifice, but because fear had been feeding it for generations. When the five elders returned the second time, they did not meet a monster, they met their own reflection. The forest did not take people, the people walked willingly into what they believed could not be resisted. The vanishing was not punishment, it was surrender, and surrender spreads. Today, the silk cotton tree still stands. Travelers avoid the area, not because of the causes, but because something about the air feels heavy, like a memory that refuses to fade. Elders in nearby towns tell their children, beware of traditions you are too afraid to question. Beware of prosperity that demands silence. Beware of fear disguised as destiny, because sometimes it is not the forest that is dangerous, it is the story you keep feeding. Aiyegun did not disappear because of a monster, it disappeared because no one asked why, until it was too late. And somewhere in some other place, another village may be prospering, another rule may be obeyed, another offering may be made, and no one may dare to ask, who benefits from our fear? Some villages vanish overnight, others vanish slowly, inside the minds of the people who live there. If you ever find yourself in a place where no one questions, where silence is rewarded, where tradition demands obedience without understanding, listen carefully, because not every cause comes from the forest. Some grow quietly from belief, and once they are fed long enough, they don't need to chase you. You will walk into them yourself. If you want more stories drawn from the shadows of forgotten folklore, stay close. The next one might feel familiar.